Do you feel like your life is crashing down and you have no purpose? Well, joining me today to give you some tips on how to burn that fear and rise up is Carin Rockind, the Purpose Girl, and she joins us from outside of Philly. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Paula.
So Carin, how do we create the path that will ensure that you're prepared for when COVID passes? It just seems
Yeah,
impossible to everyone. How do they
it
do that?
does. It does. I mean, right? I mean, it's like we're all afraid. We have this innate sense of resilience in us. You know, my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. May they rest in peace. And what is possible, as much as it seems like, and we have our brain, like the dominant part of our brain is, I call it the fear brain. Other people might call it a reptilian brain. That part of our brain wants to just obsess about, but this could be wrong, and this could be wrong, and this could be wrong.
Right.
What we also know is that the human spirit, we have this ability, as much as there's post-traumatic stress disorder, there's also something called post-traumatic growth. And I guarantee everyone watching this has gone through a challenging situation and come out of it even stronger, better, more courageous, new possibilities for their life, new relationships. And that is the opportunity now.
Right.
And the
Now, for the people that are watching it, right, and are agreeing with it, how do they do that though? Because I know a lot of people have said, well, that's easier said than done.
way easier.
How do I start? What do I do?
Right. It is easier said than done. So the first thing I wanted to do was just point out, you've probably done this before. The second is that it is okay. I want to just tell everyone, it's okay to have fear, and it's okay to have anger and grief. Those darker emotions are not bad. What they actually do is they point out like a deeper desire in you. So if you are grieving your old life and maybe the stability, then what that's telling you is that there's something in you, you really desire some sense of, stability. So maybe you want to start creating structure. You want to find a new way to do income. If you're angry right now, there's something in there that you feel powerless. And so ask yourself, what can I have power over? So what I do, and just to give a little bit of background, I've been through domestic abuse. My first love abused me at 17. I married somebody else and got divorced at 26. I've had multiple miscarriages. I was robbed at gunpoint when I was 34. So what I'm speaking about isn't just fluff. What needs to happen is that every single one of us, when we're in that fear place, you are allowed to have it. I actually love to do an anger exercise where I just, how 2-year-olds do, like they have a temper tantrum.
Right.
Well, we can have a temper tantrum. Just get it out of your body. I'm so frustrated, Right? Go to the bathroom, go to your car, get it out. And then to really use that as fuel, turn your fear into fuel and really get focused on, okay, I am afraid, and 4 years from now, when we're all at a cocktail party, and this is done, because it will be done, when I look back at this time, how do I want to say I spent it?
Right.
What do I want to brag about? And what could I use? There's so much fuel in anger and fear. We know from the research that our bodies look very much the same in fear and stress as they do in excitement. So refocusing on what else can what do I really, 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 really want? What else can I do? And let me give you an example. I went through my second miscarriage at 43 years old. Okay, I didn't get married the second time till I was 40. Second miscarriage at 43. Even though I am a positive psychologist, I have my master's in positive psychology, I teach this for a living, the science of happiness and flourishing. At that point, I was so depressed, I told my husband, I don't want to live anymore. So I had to use all these tools I'm telling you about. And then what I did, after some time of getting sick of my own, being there and then doing these exercises and getting them out and meditating and leaning into people I love, I then started to say, and what else am I here to birth? What else is possible? What else do I want? What am I here for? And I let myself really sit with those questions and focus in on what else I want in life, what else my purpose is.
I was going to say, that's the purpose part.
That's purpose, and how I want to make an impact. And then I had a vision of other women who were depressed like I was for various reasons. And I had a vision of women all over the world who were also depressed. And I literally saw a globe, like women in parts of Africa, in Asia, in the United States, everywhere. And it came to me, what if we had one day where women gathered in small groups, sisterhoods all over the world, and learned the tools of positive psychology, had a safe space to share their pain, their fear, their anger, and then had the opportunity to refocus on, and if I rise up, what else do I want in life? And that became what is now Women's Global Happiness Day. And I've done it 2 years in a row, where we've had almost 200 events in more than 30 countries. Every single thing in our life, including coronavirus, is happening for us. It stinks. None of us asked for this, okay? But there's something in this that if we really pause and we say, what am I learning from it? How is this giving me new strength? How is this giving me new courage? What lessons would I like to teach my kids or other people about it? And what are some secret, like when I go back to normal life, is that really the normal I want?
Right.
So we can take any situation. And I gave the example, I don't make any money on Women's Global Happiness Day, but just giving the example of me being in my depression helped me get in touch with other women's depression and say, what can I do about this?
Right.
And immediately what that did was refocus me from my own pain and fear and grief into purpose, which is elevating and powerful, and refocus my brain. And we know from
And that's
research,
the biggest thing, is trying to refocus your brain so that you can find that purpose. Because there's a lot of people, women and men, who just basically focus every single day on, I have to go to work and I'm going to make money and I'm going to retire. But we know that so many times people don't even get to the retirement. So what's your purpose? What's your legacy there? Nothing?
Right. And that was like our old life. When people talk about, I just want life to get back to normal, really think about that. Do you want to go back to, some people love their jobs, and I'm like, awesome, then you are living your purpose, or you're loving your life. You love that it gives you money to live the rest of your life. Awesome. Most people I know are just kind of shuffling through their day. Got to get up, got to get the kids to school. Is when you think about your kids' life or your nieces and nephews' life, is that what you want for them? Like kind of just like living at like 0 or a +2 in life? Like every
not
time.
Enjoying it at all.
Not enjoying it, not getting the richness out of it. And so I feel that why coronavirus is happening, there's a million reasons. Like one is probably for the earth to get a breather and pause. I also really believe this is the time that every single one of us gets to step back and say, when this is done, what normal do I want it to be?
Right.
Like when you think about, you might not know exactly what your purpose is. And we can get into how do you find your purpose, because it's like a big anxiety producing. That's why I do what I do with PurposGirl, because I know that it can be challenging.
Right.
But really, I love asking people, when you're at your 80th birthday party and you're giving a speech about your life, or someone else is giving a speech about your life, what do you want to be able to say about how you lived?
Right.
What do you want to say about how you showed up and the impact you had? Because what we absolutely know from the research is that people who have purpose, who feel like their life has, and purpose, just to be clear, is making an impact, actively impacting something larger than yourself, right? It's like actively your unique way that you make a bigger impact and you're making a contribution, and it fills you up and you feel joyful. I mean, it's not happy every moment, but but what we know from a research study from 2011 is that even on really crappy days, people who identify as having purpose have overall life satisfaction.
Right. That's huge.
It's huge. We also know from the research that research study was done with people in their 70s and 80s and asked, what do you most regret about your life? And what they most regret was not going for the dream that they had. And I tend to find most of us have some sort of secret little dream inside of us. We want to look back at our 80th birthday party and say, I lived fully. And now we get to shift that. And by the way, when you shift it for yourself and you start saying, okay, what strength and courage am I getting from this? How do I want to come out of this? What else do I want to do in my life? What else is possible? What secret dreams? That's going to influence if you're living with kids in the house, or you're living with other people, or you're bumping into neighbors on the street. You're going to start to change them because of your own emotions, and emotions are contagious.
Carin, how can people reach you?
You can find me on PurposGirl.com. And there you'll find a link to the podcast, the Purpose Girl podcast. You'll also there find a sign up where there's a free gift of a purpose guide, how to live your purpose. And it goes through a lot of questions. I know we didn't get into that, but if you want to get to know what your purpose is, if you listen to every episode of the Purpose Girl podcast, you will get there, because I talk about everything from how to know what your superpower core strengths are to how to remember what your dreams were when you were a kid. Go to purposegirl.com, sign up for the newsletter. You will get that purpose guide, and then listen to the podcast, and you will get everything, including a lot of episodes about this, of how do you burn up this fear and turn it into fuel for
And
power.
you just recently, last week, released a book.
I did. Yes. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. Yeah. My new book is called Wonderful You. It's actually a joyful, fun, slightly sassy quote book, quotes from a lot of my favorite people with positive psychology facts throughout. And of course, this has been planned for months to launch now. And I was like, I can't launch a joy book in the middle of coronavirus.
Here again.
But what I'm actually finding, I am getting note after note and review after review that people are saying that this is exactly what they need on their nightstand right now. They are opening it every morning for their inspiration or their joy for the day.
Carin, is there something that you would like to tell the viewers that I have not asked you yet?
Thank you for asking that. I just want to leave with this. You were born for purpose. You were born for aliveness. And you were born at this time. And so I want everyone to know that there is no one else on earth just like you. No one else has your exact strengths, right? Some of you are more creative or kind. Some of you are more, leaders, whatever it might be. No one else has your exact talents, writing or managing other people or crunching numbers. No one else has your wisdom from all of your life experience. And Dr. Ali Benazar he's been Harvard and Cambridge trained, did a mathematical formula that there's a 1 in 500 billion chance that every single one of us is alive. So I just want to leave you with that you are here with your uniqueness to make a difference and to make an impact and to live a joyful, inspiring life even now during coronavirus. And that there's something in this that I guarantee that the world needs from you, and you can support the world, and it will bring you aliveness. And I just want to encourage every single one of us. I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying it's possible to rise up and really go create the life that you've wanted, so that at your 80th birthday party
is amazing. Carin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Paula.
And thank you for joining me for this interview. Keep in mind your 80th birthday party. When you get there, what do you want to say? Be safe and stay home.